What's going on, everybody, and welcome to the Oly Kanoli Show. Today we've got Eamon Kinsman. Please welcome him.
Hey guys, what's going on? It's a pleasure to be here. I'm Eamon. I'm a full-time voice actor and friend of the Oly Kanoli Show.
Well, thank you. What's going on? So it was awesome because when I first met you, I just knew that we had an instant connection where you were talking about being a voice actor. And tell me a little bit about that experience and what kind of got you to be a voice actor.
Oh man, I've always been one of those kids that was just cartoon obsessed. I was the kid in third grade who got in trouble for making voices in the back of the class or sound effects or whatever. I've kind of always been a voice actor. I just decided that I wanted to be one professionally a few years ago. And I had a long career in sales that I just started to become spiritually unsustainable. Found myself kind of becoming or realizing that in order to be successful in that particular industry, I would have to become somebody that I couldn't live with.
Exactly, yeah.
And so COVID sort of offered, as it did with a lot of people, it kind of offered an opportunity to my wife. She got an opportunity to take this really great job, but it only really worked if somebody stayed home with the kids. And I was more than happy. We have three boys, 17, 10, and 8. They're amazing, and I was more than happy to do it. In another life or a lifetime ago, I was a preschool teacher, so I have that disposition, and I was happy to do it, and it also offered me an opportunity to get into voice acting finally, kind of take this thing that had been sort of a pipe dream and kind of flesh it out and see if it was doable. And that was about 3.5 years ago. And, from first Googling how to be a voice actor to now, I have 2 agencies and a management team in LA, and it just taking the time to really get into the industry and research it. And voice acting is the kind of thing where a lot of people will just kind of be like, yeah, man, that sounds awesome. There are websites I can get jobs and make money, and I'll just get the gear and jump in and do it up. And a lot of people who do that, I think, sort of drop out of it. One, because they find out that it's a job. Yeah,
that it's hard. That it's not just a walk in the park. It's not easy to just do it.
It's not. No, it is a job, and it takes work and research, and it takes monetary investment, equipment.
Microphones, studio sessions,
time.
even the stuff you put on the walls to make sure there's no sound bouncing off the walls, making a room more crowded.
Sound-treated area, exactly. Training.
Yeah.
It's just the most important thing, people think it's just about making voices, and it's really not. Before a voice comes a character.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
What character are you creating for this voice that it has?
Exactly. It's character comes first, and you need to be trained to do that. And even just the nuances of delivering a certain type of read, even in commercials, which you think is it's probably pretty easy. Or soulless, or whatever. It's just a commercial. But, delivering a line or a series of lines in a succession that's meant to evoke certain emotions, there's quite a science to it.
Yeah.
And not everybody can do that, But it's been really cool, and I've been really lucky, and I've had a lot of help.
Yeah.
And, if you can take the patience and the time, respect the industry that you know nothing about.
Yeah, especially when you're going into it for the first time. It's I know nothing, and I'm just a student of the craft. And the more experience you get in any industry, it's cool because you keep learning things, and you still keep staying open-minded. And it's wow, I didn't know that. Wow, I didn't know that. It's even for me and things that I'm doing, it's I'm noticing I'm learning things as I keep just doing the thing that I want to do.
Yeah, yeah. And, I listened to a lot of podcasts and things like that. I did a ton of research, and everybody was before you get super invested, get some training, find a mentor, and I did that. I trained in commercial reads for almost a little over a year with a local guy who was great. But I never would have, if I'd have jumped in myself, I would have tried to do character stuff straight away. But, by doing research about the industry, I found out like, hey, like commercial work is the voice actor's bread and butter. That's how they're going to make most of their money.
Yeah.
So even the successful character actors, they know and are pros at commercial work.
Yeah.
If they take the industry and the profession seriously, that's what they do. So, so that's what I did.
Yeah.
And I'm still doing that. I'm still taking courses. I'm still...
You're not stopping the perfection of the craft. It's like you don't just stop once you're at a good enough level where, okay, now I'm making money, now I'm doing what I wanted to do, but it's not like that I'm going to stop doing those good habits that I did build over the last couple years.
Right.
So it's like that build up where you ramp up and like keep ramping up. And it's a quote that I love saying. It's like the wolf climbing the hill is always hungrier than the wolf at the top of the hill. So always be that wolf climbing the hill. And for me, when I hear that quote, it's not just like when you're hungry and you're starving or anything, but it's more like keep going up your own ladder. It's keep going up that own hill.
The top of the hill is sort of imaginary.
Yeah.
Things are always changing. Always changing. Like it's sort of like that saying, like, it's not the destination, it's the journey.
Yeah.
There kind of almost is no destination, really. Like, it's all about that journey. And things are all, in any profession, I feel like things are always changing. Knowledge is always being found. Techniques change. Things are updated, more modern, or trends change, preferences change. Fashion, for instance, things like that.
Things are always up and down. Like baggy jeans were not out in the 2010s. Now they're coming back, but they were really hot in the early 2000s. It's like ups and downs, and that's kind of like you're saying more of it. It's not just a one way up, but it's the up down lifestyle where you keep managing the highs and lows, and lows.
Like I'm a big fan of like the Tao Te Ching. I love it. It's
what is that?
The Tao Te Ching is. Have you ever heard of the art of war?
Yes.
Okay, all right. So the art of war, there's kind of like, what is it? Sun Tzu. So the Tao Te Ching is sort of like this very fluid philosophical. I'm not going to say opposite, but maybe counterbalance. Written by a guy named Lao Tzu. And it's really it's very balance focused and about like...
like yin and yang kind of mentality?
Yes. But brought forth in almost everyday life. It's very, it reads almost like poem-like. And a lot of like points it touches on is like a true master never stops training.
Yeah. And it makes sense.
They're never done. There is no done. You continue to learn. You continue to do.
On that skill, like whatever skill it is. And I always talk with people about this, like any skill you have in life that you want to improve on, it's like a video game where it's like there's not a max level of the skill in life. You just keep kind of going up in whatever skill it is.
Right.
Whether it be I want to learn how to shoot a basketball better or run a little better, or even when it's something more technical, it's like I want to video edit a little cleaner, a little crisper. I want to do this better. It's like there's so many different variables of how to be better at anything. And like you said, there's always a rise up, but there's not like a cap of how high can you go.
Like for you mentioned basketball, right? Like I'm not a big sports guy, but like Michael Jordan, LeBron James, those guys, do they ever like stop going to practice? Are they ever like, I'm that good now, I don't need to?
It's like you lose that sharpness.
They show up every day.
Yeah, it's like that Kobe mentality. Like he's like, I showed up, wake up 3 a.m., do this. It's like this Kobe mentality that got like kind of promoted by him. And it's like obviously other athletes in the NBA and high level athletes do the same thing and they take care of their body, but it's like it doesn't stop. No. That grind never stops of whatever you want to do in life.
If you love it and respect it, the work doesn't stop, and you're happy to do it.
Yeah, it's
like, not always great. Yeah. You're not always loving it, but like
it's the respect aspect you just said that kind of clicked to me. It's like when you really respect what you're doing, the craft, you respect it and yourself so much that you won't allow yourself to stoop down to a lower level.
You never let yourself get bigger than the art.
Yeah,
you respect.
No, that's awesome, and it's cool that you even had that opportunity too. Like even for like coronavirus happened, like a lot of people like kind of went through this struggle, like what do I do now? But when you kind of go through that struggle, go through like what am I gonna do in the next couple years? What am I gonna do in the next couple months? Everyone's going through this trauma. It's like okay, how can I use this to then better myself in any which way? Take advantage of situations.
Like I'm not the only story. I've heard of many stories. A lot of people, a lot of companies are like searching for people. You know, they don't have enough staff because people kind of took the opportunity to be like,
Yeah.
what am I doing? Like,
Yeah.
you know,
It was like a reset for people. Some people, it harmed them, and like they just kind of kept doing what they normally do. But some people genuinely, I noticed it as well, especially being like in my early 20s at the time. I didn't rush to get a job right after college because I was thinking, I was like, you know what, I might as well take advantage of this time to like think, what do I really want to achieve and do? And is this the time to chase my dreams, or do I wait until I'm 30, 40, 50? You know, it's like I have the opportunity to do it now, so why not?
I wish somebody would have told me when I was younger, like if I could time travel back, you know, I would have said like, we're all raised with this mentality of like money.
Mm-hmm.
Make money, man. Make money.
Yeah.
Right? Wake up, make money. And you just go through life thinking like that's the most valuable thing.
Yeah.
Ultimately, money.
Mm-hmm.
When it's really like, it's time.
Yeah.
It is time. And like, I'm not saying you shouldn't make money, but you should figure out a way to do it that is worth your time, that respects like the sanctity of your time. Because it's all we got. From the minute you're born to the minute you die, we've got time.
Mm-hmm.
However much you have,
yeah,
it's the most precious thing you got.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so to be able to have that time, like you said, to figure out how best to spend it, is again like just invaluable.
It's that journey too, where sometimes I even think that I get impatient as like, again, early 20s, like nowadays with social media and everything you see people younger than you living more glamorous life. You see all these people, oh, they have this, they have this, they have this. There's so much comparison going on. And it's like the thief of joy to like compare yourself to other people.
Oh, absolutely.
And you forget like you are on your own journey, your own path of whatever you want to achieve.
Yeah.
Focus on whatever you want to do because you're the one that has to live with your life. No one else does. And it's so cool because like obviously everyone's always like in hindsight or like, oh, I wish I would have done this, what I really wanted to do all my life earlier. But it's cool because at least you actually did it. People who live their entire lives and always have regrets, like when they're really, really old, where they don't even have the energy to do that next thing that they really wanted to do.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I mean, you pretty much nailed it there, man.
Yeah.
You know, it's, I feel a lot of things.
Mm-hmm.
But I've said it for a lot of years, and it's funny. Before it was even true, I used to say it as like tongue in cheek, but like now I mean it more than ever.
Mm-hmm.
You know, some people will sometimes people will casually be like, man, you're lucky. And I'm like, I'm the luckiest guy you know.
Yeah.
And I used to just say it facetiously.
Mm-hmm.
And now I kind of fucking mean it.
Yeah.
Because I feel that way. I feel so like grateful.
Yeah, and they always say like it's like no one's lucky. It's like it's just where talent, skill, and perseverance all come together. It's like that's to me was what lucky was. Like you were blessed with opportunities, right? Absolutely. But it's like to put the work in, that wasn't luck. You know what I mean?
No.
It's like to put the work in wasn't luck, but it's like being in the right position at the right time and getting lucky because you're doing the thing that you wanted to do. So obviously you're going to end up receiving from the universe, obviously those same blessings because of the fact that you're in this space that you wanted to be in. So it's again like that like balance, like you were saying, of doing it and also doing the work for it, but then also when the opportunities come, taking advantage of those opportunities as you're in that space. And I think that's awesome. And I kind of wanted to ask, like, what do you think has been within, like, obviously, the last 3-4 years, like, something within the voice acting business that you think was a kind of a bigger challenge? And what did you think was going to be a challenge? And it was honestly really easy to you.
Oh, wow. Okay. So I guess it's that, and I've just kind of been recently discovering this in, just recently in classes and listening to my performances and things like that, auditions that I send in, reviewing them, and after I send them in to just be like, you know, because when you do the work, when you do an audition, you got to feel like you do it the best you can.
Yeah.
And then let it go.
Yeah.
You know,
can't be a perfectionist.
You have to walk away.
Yeah.
You have to walk away and forget it happened. Because you can't dwell on it. But you know, I do like listen to stuff and just think like, oh man, you know, next time maybe I'll do this, maybe I'll do that. When I first started, and I can hear it in my earlier stuff, I was definitely putting on. You know, my performances were for what I thought people wanted. And one of the things I'm finding, and I hear multiple teachers and, you know, watching interviews with actors who are inspirations to me, a common thread of something that they always talk about is you are your most effective tool. You are what makes you stand out. Like, so don't use the voice you think people want to hear.
Yeah.
Don't assume some form you think will serve or make someone else happy. Perfect what you are naturally. Like, just
authentically yourself.
The thing is, like, don't go into something thinking that you're wrong. Like, it's sort of like this whole like imposter syndrome thing that's been going around. Give yourself anti-imposter syndrome and work from there. Go into a situation thinking, every instinct I have is 100% correct.
And follow that instinct.
Follow it.
Yeah.
It might not be, but it will be more times than you think.
Yeah.
Way more.
That is true. I've noticed that in life, like more and more.
That's really kind of blown my mind. Like, ever since I've just like stopped thinking about the correct way to give a performance. Okay, this character's got this. He's supposed to be.
And caring what other people might want to hear from you. You're just doing what you know you can do, and then if they like it, they like it. If they don't, then so be it. You just keep doing what you feel is right.
Don't think about how it's going to be received in the future. Think, how can I, as the lens for this action, the filter for this performance. You know, I am the tool with which this job is being done.
Yeah.
I'm not using tools. I am the tool.
Yeah. You know? That's awesome you say that, because one of my closest friends, he actually is an artist and he's a musician. And from his earlier stuff and creation that he used to do, he'd always send me like the rough mix before, when it was just an idea on the beat he created. I'd always tell him, like, dude, this sounds great, like, this is awesome. But then he would mix it, master it, and do it all himself and engineer it. And I'd be like, honestly, I like the earlier version better, because when you mix and master and engineer it, you're changing the audio to sound what he thinks that people would like, or how it's supposed to sound, or industry standard. And almost lately it's been happening for him where he started using his voice as the instrument more. And I'm like, dude, because this sounds so much better because your voice is the instrument, not the engineering, not this. And it's like noticing his growth and noticing you say that. It's cool that people don't even realize that they're so talented as innate who they are as individuals, and they don't have to muddle themselves too much.
People are incredible, and we all spend so much time convincing ourselves we're not, and I just don't know why. Like, I kind of have suspicions, but for the most part, I don't get it. but I'm a victim of it too, you know, less so than I think I was, but still very much, you know. But yeah, you know, you should trust yourself. Yeah, trust yourself. Your instincts are good, and they're right. They're not always they're right. They're not always correct. Yeah. But you can fix that. And it's better to start closer to your goal than farther away. Yeah. You know, and go for it. Yeah. And if you throw 100% of yourself at something, you'll be that much closer to it when you miss. That's true. Yeah, it's always like that silly quote where it's like, you shoot 100% of the shots you don't take. If you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. It's but it's true. It's like you just got to shoot your shot and hope for the best in your instinct, like you were saying. Yeah. And something I was going to ask, I don't know if you're comfortable with this during this as well, but what are one of your favorite voices that you use? And if you could kind of give you a little demonstration and give some of yours like a demonstration of like. Yeah. I mean, as far as character stuff, I'm still really young with that. And forgive me, I'm actually getting over like a little bit of a chest cold, so I'm a little nasally. Yeah. But I love, one of my favorite voices, just because of the way it makes me feel when I do it, is this, the original actor who first started doing it, his name is Ed Wynn, or was Ed Wynn. And you've heard this voice throughout cartoons, probably more notably, like if you have you ever seen Wreck-It Ralph? Yeah, my brother showed. Yeah, my brother showed. Remember King Candy? Yeah. Oh, that's Ed Wynn. That's Ed Wynn. He was or other people like maybe the older folks remember Mary Poppins, and she went to go see the guy who laughed. I love to laugh. Yeah. And they floated up on the ceiling, and it was ridiculous. And it's almost like the villain, or like the weird, the quirky character. Sometimes it's a villain, yeah, but it's just this crazy, like all over the goddamn place. And and I love it because it's free. And it's completely unhinged, and it's just. It allows you to express yourself, however way you want to do it, and that's awesome. You know, that's one of my favorites. I love like creature sounds, you know, like Garland, my precious, like guys like that.
Yeah. That was
monster
great. That was great. That right there. Like, it's like
my wife won't let me do it in the house anymore. Filthy little hobbitses.
Yeah.
Because I used to we'd be in the middle of like a sweet little hug, and I would just do it like right softly in her ear,
just to get her to get a reaction.
Be like, my precious, and she would just be like, get away from me, it's shit like that. And oh man, there's just a million of them. I love it. And that's the other thing too, is it's so much fun, and I do a lot of them with my kids and stuff, and they do them back, and
because it's like you're expressing yourself, you're allowing yourself to be so
fun.
Yeah.
And that's one thing I have decided to do with my precious time is have fun.
Yeah.
As much as I possibly can.
Yeah. That's awesome.
I think it's a noble and worthwhile purpose. Fun.
So just going off of that, like again, you say you have 3 boys. Like, what do you think about like nowadays? Obviously, like being a father again, like you're saying, like how do you be again like a father in this day and age where again you feel like there's so much going on in the outside world? Or some challenges do you feel like you've had like kind of raising 3 boys?
Yeah, it's big. That's a huge question. Parenthood. I think one of the coolest phrases I ever heard about having a child was, you give your heart a name and let it walk around outside your body.
Oh, that's deep. Yeah.
Yeah. It was not mine. I can't remember where I heard it, but I heard it. You become that vulnerable.
Yeah.
And it's just what, I think it's a very personal thing. Parenthood is hard to generalize because people are hard to generalize. And that's another trap I think a lot of us fall into, but we can get away with that somewhere.
Like parents sometimes like want their kid to be this person or this person, and they kind of put them in a box of who they want them to be because of that name, and not letting them like flourish sometimes too.
And that can be with a parent who maybe is concerned with like vicarious living, maybe wanting their kid to do the things that they never got to do or do the things that they did, because that's what they know about. That's what they're pros at. Everything else they don't know about, and that's scary and unsafe. And a good parent ultimately wants their kid to be safe, as safe as they can be.
That's like the number one priority.
Exactly, and that is a motivation for almost everything. But taken too far, that can be a detriment to your parenting.
Yeah.
Because life and existence is not safe. You can do your best. You can do your best. And you can make safe choices, but that's not a guarantee.
Yeah.
None of it is. And that's probably the scariest part about parenting, is that you cannot guarantee their safety. But you can give them, hopefully, the tools at which to find their own safety and peace and happiness. And I think, you want to do, hopefully your parents did a little bit better for you than their parents did for them.
Yeah.
Not saying that anybody was terrible parents. I mean, some people did have terrible parents. But, human beings are complicated. And they're good and they're bad. And the good things your parents are going to give you good things, and they're going to give you bad things. And that's going to be imprinted on you. And I'm going to do the same for my kids. Hopefully, I do it a little bit better on the good side and a little bit less on the bad side. But I think that's the best you can hope for. Like, a huge motivation for me to be a successful voice actor is, I was raised, I was raised with encouragement. If I'd said that I wanted to be an actor, my parents would be like, "That's great. Do it on the side, though."
Yeah, that's always
make that steady money, get those benefits, do that,
Because like you said, it's what they know, it's what they're prepared to teach, because that's what they did, and it makes sense too. Because who wouldn't want that safety, that security that you get from a job, that you get from those benefits and stuff too?
Exactly. And look, there's a lot to support that point of view. If you run the numbers, they lean towards that more secure endeavor, and but for somebody who's a creative, I got to a point where, like I said, it was unsustainable for me, for many reasons, because it wasn't who I was. It's just not who I am.
Yeah.
And a big reason I want to succeed in this isn't just for ego reasons. It kind of leans back into parenting. Okay, so like kids don't listen to shit.
Yeah.
They don't listen to words. They do listen to what you say. But as far as like lessons you want to impart and things like that, and like they maybe will remember 10% of what you say.
Yeah.
But they watch everything you do.
That is important.
Your actions imprint on them
Mm-hmm.
in ways you don't even know, in ways they don't know.
Yeah.
You know, you do things that your mom and dad did that you're not even aware of.
It's
The
so
way you
habitual,
talk,
too.
The way you move, the life decisions you make, the risks you take or don't. So a big thing I want to do, like a big thing, I want to show them
Yeah.
that nothing is impossible. Like if you want something, you can have it.
Mm-hmm.
If
And
you're
you can
willing to
achieve
bust
it.
your ass
Yeah.
and be real. I'm not saying like it, la 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 la. Sit back and say I want to be this, and it's just gonna magically happen.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be realistic about it. And you have to work your balls off.
Yeah. You have to work for it.
or ovaries or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But it's possible. You can do it.
Mm-hmm.
Don't have a plan B.
Yeah.
Change plan A
Yeah.
when you need to,
And adjust it accordingly to still the main plan that you want to go towards.
but keep plan A.
Yeah.
Plan A will work if you don't give up on it.
Mm-hmm.
You may have to change it, but it will work.
And it goes back to that same thing you're saying. It's like, never give up.
No.
Like the people who make it are the people who just never gave up.
No.
And a lot of people will get through the hard times and think, you know what if I just stopped caring about it? What if I gave up? What if I just didn't keep going? But it's like, no, like just no matter what. And it's something my dad always tells me. He's like, in anything you do, just don't give up. Because if you quit one thing in life, from then on and forth, anytime something gets hard, you might quit it.
Yeah.
And like when he told that to me, like obviously like, when you're younger, you don't have that same like you said, like we listen to 10% of things. But then I watched how my dad told me a story about when he was in Egypt for 7 years. He was underneath a boss who basically wanted him fired because he hated him so much. But my dad never gave them a reason to fire them. He was just a great employee. He did great, and it was just like support to then get married and then try to immigrate to a new country and travel and everything. And he told me there were so many times where I could have easily quit because I didn't even need the job anymore because I was doing a little car service business in Egypt.
People would have, and I wouldn't have blamed him for it.
Exactly, and that's what I told my dad. But he was like, for me, it was more along the lines of I will not quit this thing because of their pleasure.
Right.
And even though it's a little bit of ego, a little bit of pride, it built him as a man.
Yeah.
And when he tells me that story, it makes me almost think like, okay, I'm on a sports team and the coach really doesn't like me and I have to go through this and go through this and go through that. But I can't quit because if I quit, then in the future when things get hard, I'm gonna quit.
Yeah, no, and look, there are some times
Where you should.
you should quit.
Yeah.
We'll get into that in one of my other one of your other
Yeah.
prompt questions. But humility is wonderful, and you should practice it. But ego is not a sin. You need to believe in yourself too.
Yeah.
And you need to know when to look somebody in the eye and say, fuck you.
Yeah. Or like or saying
like,
no and setting that boundary and be like, no.
You're trying to convince me that I'm worthless, and I'm not. No, I'm not playing that song.
Mm-hmm.
So your dad. That's a perfect example. Like,
Yeah.
Be like, this isn't gonna go your way.
Yeah, like
Not
I'm gonna
this
make
time.
sure that I do this fully 100%.
He realized and took his power.
Yeah. And I guess like not going off that, like something that again we're talking about again like careers and like doing all these things, like something I want to ask you is like, what do you think like most people don't know?
Oh,
And yeah, to go off of that.
what they want.
Yeah.
What they want.
Mm-hmm.
It's a real scary question. I think a lot of people think they know what they want.
Mm-hmm.
Because they've been led to believe,
Mm-hmm.
probably mostly by parents or society,
Mm-hmm.
that want generally to keep them safe
Mm-hmm.
into safe decisions,
Mm-hmm.
which are good, and you should.
Mm-hmm.
But safe decisions are a great application to apply to a process.
Mm-hmm. Like a
The
system.
compass, the internal compass that leads you to that process,
Mm-hmm.
shouldn't be.
Yeah.
It should be reckless as hell.
Mm-hmm.
It should spin wildly until it
Hits.
points.
Yeah. Until you feel that magnetic
Until you
energy.
goddamn know.
What you want.
And I feel like that's why, there's all these old, people who get on in years and they get to the end of these careers that they probably did great in and supported families on. I'm not trying to take away.
Yeah, because that's still a great and important and like honorable thing to do.
Absolutely. Like I'm not. My dad did that, and my mom did that, and I am eternally grateful for it. And I'm not trying to say that like people who don't realize their dream are like chumps or fools and wasting their lives. They are not. Everybody is doing their best, and that's all you can do.
Yeah.
You know, but I do feel like a lot of people don't know what they really want because they were taught that like it's silly to answer that question or even ask it.
Yeah.
And even a little bit deeper is that the answer, the real true answer, comes with a ton of responsibility.
Yes.
Because if you discover it, now you know.
Because
if you don't do it,
if you don't live up to that,
you're accountable for it.
Yep.
To no one, to yourself.
Yeah.
Like to yourself.
And
it implies a responsibility.
And it goes to that same quote where it's like we're not afraid of our dark, but our light that most like frightens us. And it's true because it's like when you finally know what you really want to do in life and what you can achieve and the direction you want to go, you almost start getting this like anxiety where it's like, wait, I can achieve this. This is possible. I can do it. This is what I love doing. Now, if I don't do it, I'll always know that I knew what I wanted at an early age.
It's there's so much focus on failure and fear of failure, which is hilarious because we all do it so goddamn much, and we know about it.
Yeah.
What we're really afraid of is success.
Yeah.
And and achieving it and losing it.
Yeah.
You can't lose something you don't have. So it's less scary that way, but people are terrified of that.
Yeah.
And I don't think they know it. There's a lot. And I didn't it's so crazy, like I'm 41, I'm almost 42, and I feel like I've like just in the past few years, like not just started to, but gotten a lot closer to figuring out like who I am or not who I am, who I want to be.
Yeah.
Because it's not like you're born and you just are this person.
Yeah, you become over time. Yeah.
Yeah. And again, those decisions imply responsibility, which are scary.
Yeah.
Because nobody else can do that but you. But people let other people do that.
Yeah. And they're afraid to take those risks. And like you were saying with risks, in my head I was thinking a good example of that is like, for example, like imagine the more like hunter-gatherer time where there's a woolly mammoth, right? Yeah. Or there's this, you have to hunt with people. And is that high risk? Yes, absolutely. You could die. The woolly mammoth could stab you with its horn, or you go after a buffalo. It could run you over. There's all these risks, right? But the reward is meat. The reward is getting that sustenance for that family. So it's like in our innate life, we need to be taking risks. And some risks are going to be higher risk, high reward. Sometimes you'll find those sweet things where it's medium risk, high reward, or low risk, medium reward.
Oh, yeah.
And some things are low risk, low reward, but hey, you're still taking some sort of risk. And I think people are afraid to like you said, like just put themselves out there to be risky.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's how you're going to learn. And it's so cool because then off of that, if you want to take these risks, you have to remember, how do I know who I am, right? Do things, do different things, try new foods, try new skills, try new sports.
I don't like that.
And just that, and then once you keep,
felt good. This felt wrong.
And once you keep doing that one by one, you then mold into this person that you, like you said, want to decide to become.
You find your own boundaries.
That's awesome. And I was going to ask, is like, what's something that in life that you think you're proud of, like going off of that?
Oh man. So my family has, on both sides, has a pretty righteous history of substance abuse, especially alcohol. I've lost aunts and uncles to it. The living ones still suffer. My mother, at present is not allowed to see my kids, which kills me. A lot of the magic that I like to bring to my kids, the playful spirit, the imagination, came from her. And she's victim to this poison. And I put that down about almost 4 years ago, and I've never looked back. And I'm proud of myself for that.
No, that's awesome.
It was one of the hardest things I've ever done was pull myself out of that gravity.
Mm-hmm.
Because, man, that's a delicious lie.
Mm-hmm.
It is hard.
And it keeps you, like, locked in.
Even when you admit it's a lie, it's hard to take it out of your mouth.
Yeah.
Because it tastes good.
And, like, it makes you feel good, too. There's, like, a sense of, like, what it makes you feel, too.
It's false, though.
It's a false sense of feeling. Yeah.
It's a phenomenon, I guess. That's a pretty unimaginative phrase. But, there's like this conception, before, at least for me, again, everything is situational, everything is subjective.
Yeah.
So for me, like before I would drink, I would have this sort of experience in my, it's going to kick back. It's going to be fun. It's going to be a reward. It's going to be great.
Mm-hmm.
But then it would be like 2 PM. And then what would happen would be like, I realized like once I had like 1 or 2 beers, I couldn't stop. And then all of a sudden,
keep going.
4, 5, 6, and now I'm stressed out because it's the middle of the fucking day. And I got to pick my kids up. And what am I going to do? And it was like that every time.
Mm-hmm.
But it always started with the lie that I believed every time.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I could talk for hours about the mechanics of self-delusion, but pulling myself out of it. And, you mentioned before, stepping into the light is harder.
Yeah.
And to do that, you have to really look at parts of yourself, not even that you don't want to, that you, like there are parts of yourself that are screaming, clawing, and fighting as hard as it can just to not admit that they exist.
Mm-hmm.
And you got to find those things and drag them into the light.
Yeah.
And learn to love them.
Mm-hmm.
And forgive yourself.
Yeah.
Whatever your reasons are for wanting to hide.
Mm-hmm.
To forgive yourself for being human and vulnerable.
Mm-hmm.
And realizing that vulnerability that you're so afraid of, that you see as a weakness, has always been your greatest strength.
Yeah.
Being open, like real strength.
Yeah.
Is walking into a fight bug ass naked.
Mm-hmm. It's like mentally too, like mentally being like unhinged, where it's like you're not limited to what someone tells you can become or not be, but it's that freedom, that true inner freedom, inner peace. And it's like inner peace doesn't come from just being successful or having this nice car or this. No, it's wholesome, being so wholesome within yourself.
Now, like when I tell my kids about how they should love themselves and how to live life in a way that is peaceful and will make them happy, I don't feel like a liar. I don't feel like a hypocrite, because I might not be nailing every single one of these lessons, but I'm honest to goodness trying. And some of them I'm doing pretty good.
Yeah, and you can always feel it too when you're authentically doing the right thing. And it's like something that hit me was when I started like seeing people around me, family or things, and like I feel like they could be better. But then one of my favorite quotes of all time, like someone when I was abroad, he's from Morocco, and we would always talk and stuff, and it was during Ramadan when I was abroad, and we were talking, and he said one time to me, he's like, you know what quote you'd really like? I was like, what? And he was like, yesterday I was clever, or I was smart, so I wanted to change the world, right? Yesterday I was smart, I wanted to change the world, but today I am wise, so I'm changing myself. And it's so cool because I noticed that when I started changing my own habits, things that I was doing every day, I noticed that it did inspire people around me. People then were telling me, hey, like you really inspired me to do something better. Or hey, like because of watching you get better made me think, wait, maybe I need to get better too. Because they're seeing it visually. Like you said, people listen. Everyone listens.
It's the talk and the walk.
You got to see it to believe it. And again, like it's just awesome that like to me, like I think again, like I'm so grateful that I've never drank before, and I always tell people it's like I'm so grateful for my religion giving me that, I guess, moral code, because it stopped me from even engaging in that, and I'm so grateful for that, because when I hear stories like how you're telling me here, like that takes strength, and like for me, I know myself, I have a very addictive personality.
Yeah.
So I understand that if I did pick up the bottle 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, it would become like that too. So I just commend you so much for being able to be strong enough to do that, and then being that example for your family, for your kids. Like that's just awesome.
Because man, it really sucks to have to like not let your own mother see your kids.
Because you're afraid of that substance abuse.
And I never want my kids to know what that feels like.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah.
Ever. It's awful.
And that's a commendable thing.
Life's hard enough.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
It's hard enough. If you can make it a little less hard for other people, that's worthwhile in and of itself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, of course. And something I kind of wanted to ask you is, just again, because I would say you're probably around 20 years older than me, I was going to ask and say, what is something that you noticed in relationships or people 20 years ago versus now? So it's like when you're roughly my age, was it any different? Is there more like awkwardness when you talk to people, or what do you think?
I listen more.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely listen more.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, wow, it kind of goes back to, it's kind of parallel with what you asked me about the thing that I learned about voiceover that was surprising to me is I trust myself more.
Mm-hmm.
Like, for better or for worse, like I'm what I have, and I'm not waiting to become something anymore.
Mm-hmm. You're just being.
Yeah. This is me. If it changes a little, that's great.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess when I was younger, I thought I was always waiting for this better person that I would become with time.
Mm-hmm.
And so much of me was already there.
Yeah. You just had to unwrap the present.
Tell them, like, hey, you're all right.
Yeah.
Just trust yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You're that place you're waiting to be.
So
you're pretty much there, kid.
Mm-hmm.
You're there. You're a little behind on experience, but you're there. Just trust yourself.
Do you think having conversations then with yourself and or others was easier or harder than now?
Probably both in certain ways.
Mm-hmm.
Probably easier to get by because it's easy to bullshit,
and
be flippant. And it's harder to take someone's questions seriously and take your answers more seriously.
Yeah.
It's easy to be clever.
Mm-hmm.
It's harder to be honest.
Yeah, that's true.
Because when you're honest, you're less afraid.
Mm-hmm.
We're never not afraid, but we're less afraid of how we're being perceived.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like when I was younger, I was definitely, and I feel like a lot of people feel that way. I was afraid of being perceived as I don't even know,
or like judged in any way. You know what I mean? It doesn't even matter. So you just feel
of being judged, and
the older you get, they always say that the older you get, the less you even care about what people think.
Because you realize that's not a you thing.
Yeah, it's a them. Yeah, exactly.
Someone judging you has nothing to do with you.
Yeah,
it has everything to do with them.
Mm-hmm.
And that sort of leads you down the path of like, okay, well, what about the judgments I make?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I should learn more before I do.
Yeah, and
you're going to make judgments. You have to.
Naturally.
But you'll be slower about it, and
it's like, don't be quick to judge. Give that time.
Avoid generalizations.
Mm-hmm.
Learn everything is contextual. Everything is situational.
Mm-hmm.
People
and
aren't
perspective.
the same way they are all the time.
Mm-hmm.
What situation are they in? What are the moving pieces here? What are the factors?
Yeah.
What's going on?
Mm-hmm.
Try to consider as much as you can from as many different angles as you can before you lay down a judgment.
Yeah.
If you have to.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't, don't.
Yeah.
Just ask how you can help. And if you can, help.
Yeah. And people always tell me that they're always like, dude, the person you are, like when you're playing a sport, is so different than the person you are when you're taking a walk. Because I get so competitive and I get so like angry. I'm like, I want to win because I'm so competitive.
Yeah.
But like outside of the sport or the game, right after I could be like, hey, what's up, man? It's like, dude, you just yelled at me because I wasn't playing fast enough with you. Or he's like, yeah, but that was just in the game. Like I'm a whole different person outside of the game. And it's like, because I notice people like that's like, I know a guy who's like super stoic and calm, but when he plays video games, he's yelling and screaming at this TV, and I'm like, how is this the same person? But it's a good example, and I guess it's kind of like going to like again the end of the video here and everything. I kind of wanted to ask you two things. One, I always ask every guest that's on here, what's an Arabic word you want to learn? and you said that you want to learn the word librarian.
Oh.
And I was thinking in my head, I'm like, all right, look, I'll make sure he knows it. And it was funny because your name's Eamon.
And what was it again?
It was Eamon al-Maktaba.
Eamon al-Maktaba.
Perfect. You said it exact, right? And it's so cool because
that's beautiful.
Your name, like it was so, you could have picked any word, and your name is even, it's like Eamon, in like Arabic, it's like protector of.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like.
It's my name.
Yeah.
You know, my name in Gaelic is prosperous protector.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, it's throughout a lot of other things too, you know, and it's funny too, because I said that because the only other language that, you know, a typical white American doesn't really speak one language. But in Spanish, I love the word for librarian. Le bibliotecario. It's gorgeous.
Yeah, it sounds so like enchanting.
It's so silly that le bibliotecario. You know, and like, and it's beautiful, you know. But it's like a cellar door thing, you know. And I just think so that's what prompted me to say, like, I wonder what librarian is in Arabic, because it's beautiful in Spanish. So it's kismet, I guess. Yeah. It's just a funny correlation.
Yeah. And the quote, I was asked for a quote as well, and it's this is the quote you had. It was, "Tell me what you plan to do with your wild and precious life," by Olivia Wilde, or who's it by?
Mary Oliver, I think.
Mary Oliver. Okay.
Yeah. Tell me, what is it you plan to do with your one wild and precious life?
Mm-hmm. And could you kind of explain as to why, like, you love that quote so much?
Oh man, it's tied into so many things that I think about a lot, you know, and it's something that you and I have talked about, you know, like differences with, like, you know, where we think we come from, and I'm very comfortable with not knowing, you know, and people do what they're comfortable with and what they feel strongest with, you know, when it comes to religion and spirituality. And sometimes I can go very well. Yeah. And sometimes I can go very bad.
Like you said, like a balance of like knowing what you're gonna do with this life that we are given.
So,
you know?
So from my personal perspective, all I can quantify about my own existence is that I have a certain amount of time. I don't know what happened before this, and I don't know what happens after. And I'm at peace with that. Because if I do my best to use this time I have to the best of my ability, and give it the proper respect and honor and justice that I think this time deserves, because it's a miracle. Yeah. You know, I don't believe in deities, but I love miracles. And I think that they're happening constantly. To me, existence is a miracle. You know, every seat you sit in is a pew. Every breath you breathe is a prayer. Yeah. So spending this time trying to be your truest self and propagate love, and, you know, it's the ultimate service. It's the ultimate testament, and I think it's the wisest thing you can do. Yeah. For me, you know, like,
it's like whatever you are, whatever you choose to be a good one.
The only thing we know for sure is that we have this time. So
take advantage of it or you lose it.
It follows that the most important question would be, what are you going to do with it?
No, and I just thank you again for like joining me on this. Has been an awesome conversation. So I'm just so grateful and thankful that you decided to hop on this
Likewise.
podcast.
Thank you for giving a guy space to let it all out of his head.
Of course. And that's the whole point of like the Oly Kanoli Show. So thank you guys again for tuning into the Oly Kanoli Show. This is Eamon, and it's been an awesome conversation. Check out his website down below for his voice acting career and his business. And if you guys want to be on the show, you guys want to be sitting where he's sitting right here, then apply. It'll be down in the description below. Please subscribe, like, comment, and let me know what you guys thought. I really appreciate you guys watching. I'll catch you next time on the Oly Kanoli Show.